I really wanted silly Shastri on this podcast. I have it. I'm BCCI's bitch. I'm not the only one. The world is BCCI's bitch. So people like, see, you're so generic. You're so generic. But I am a generic bitch. All right. After all the back and forth, which was just drama, there was no back and forth. Whatever BCCI says and Rohit Sharma says happens. Right after he makes a century, obviously, for the first time ever. At age 34, people love him anyway. The match was eventually cancelled. Yes, cancelled because ECB did say forfeit, but within 10 minutes they said, no, we didn't. We changed our mind because BCCI just whipped us in the asses. Like, what the fuck are you writing? Change it. Okay, this is a joke. Like, it's like me writing something. Even we don't change stuff. Okay. Now, there were no COVID reasons, but it was due to fear of COVID. Now, I just love this thing, fear of COVID, because right now I am in fear of COVID. I can cancel this podcast because I don't know what that means. Now, what they're saying right now is India is touring England next in July 2022, which is like they're touring for matches, right? So let's just say they'll probably have a window in August or something. So it's like an year later, okay? Jimmy Anderson, maybe he would still be there, but Sam Curran could have retired by that time. That's almost a year from now. Does it make sense? That's a question. And I'll tell you something, my view also. Doesn't make sense to play the final test then and conclude the series. It'll be a different team, different world, different virus. It'll be like Heineken 2022. I am perfectly fine with the test being played because, see, eventually everything is about money. ECB will lose out on 30 million pounds. I want to repeat this, 30 million pounds because this test match did not go on. But calling it a part of this series is completely absurd because it doesn't make any sense. Now, I have this breaking news. Let me say that rumored breaking news that the match will be played definitely next year because it's about money, but it will be called a standalone, like a standalone WTC final, like a standalone. This is it. Whosoever wins, winner takes it all. I like that, but yet it's not clear what that means. Does that mean that India will be awarded this series 2-1? We will find out soon enough. But my question to you, does it make sense? Like, what the hell just happened? Can you just give me a little bit of your view in general? Because we'll have specific questions on that.
Okay. Two things. One is, first, when I heard this, I was agitated, angry, like any other cricket fan. I think the biggest loser in all this, are the fans, right? I heard somewhere like yesterday, Nasser Hussain talking to a fan. He's
Northern Ireland.
Edinburgh,
Scotland.
Northern Ireland. Yeah, it's just people would have traveled and not only traveled, they would have made their hotel reservations, gotten the
and it's expensive. You know that, right? It's 5 times.
Expensive. Yeah, it's super expensive. So, I just feel for the fans who would, like real cricket lovers who would travel to, see first 3 days of this match were sold out, by the way, like full sold out. And
fourth was also done, and the fifth is only not done because they're not sure will it go to the fifth. It was always going to get sold out. Yeah, that's just the reason.
So I just feel sorry, and I just am as a cricket fan, I got angry, but my knee-jerk reaction was like, what the fuck? Like, if they could continue to play the fourth test, because technically all these guys, the coaching staff started detecting positive or tested positive in the middle of the fourth test, right? And they still continued to play the test and whatever. Why couldn't they have done the same thing? And all these questions were coming through my mind. And is it?
I'll come back to that. I'll come back to that. I just want to right now. Go on. Sorry, finish this thing and finish. Yeah, and then tell me whether this makes sense to actually do it next year and still call it part of this series, because that's just bizarre, right?
See, if in an ideal world, if there was no IPL, they could have said, okay, let's postpone this test by 5 days, and like once we get more tests done, and like, because sometimes the positive test results returns positive on the third day, first, second day, it doesn't come out. All that.
Fair enough.
So let's say like we postpone the test by 5 days. You get a few more days of rest. Test, make sure everything's fine. There's no breach, and then but then there is this big, elephant in the room, IPL hanging around. No player wants to, sacrifice IPL because remember, people who've been left out of the squad have to perform in the IPL to make a case and might make the World Cup squad and so on and so forth. So in any case, no player wants to, miss the IPL for so many reasons. And pushing it to next year, I think, is just just takes the charm out of this series. I mean, it was such a great cricketing series, such high level quality of bowling throughout the series. I mean, it's just ruined the whole fun.
Yeah, but so playing because they're going to play because it's about money, right? So
Yeah.
standalone will make sense. Let's just leave it what it is. We'll talk about how the series should
I
end.
don't think that will. I don't think England will agree, or I mean, to be very honest, like the series could have been 2-2, right? You never know. It could be 3-1. It could stay like this. It could be 2-2.
Correct.
I don't think any party would forfeit. And so next year, by the way, do remember India is traveling to England for some white ball series. So they can schedule, like they can go extra. They can schedule 1 week extra and finish off the test match. Um, but to my mind, I think that's what's going to happen. I think the series will remain as 2-1 and to be decided. And the next test match, whenever it happens, the result would be added to the series, and I think that's what will happen.
All right, so that's might happen, but I'm just saying right now what the rumor is that it will be a standalone. Right now, that's the major rumor.
Which is
And
stupid. Which I don't
this will be
agree
in the
with.
this will be in the limbo. Okay, I'll just come back to that. So let me just because you were talking about the IPL, I had this long thought, and I just want an opinion again on the same thing which you were talking about, because a lot of things will overlap. So I just want to make sure that I have my questions out there. ECB chief executive Tom Harrison, I have never heard of this guy. Okay, but now I'm hearing about him everywhere. He said this verbatim, word to word. I don't think the IPL has anything to do with this. This is not a situation which has been created by the rescheduled IPL. I fundamentally do not believe that for a second. Now, I've got one thing to say to Mr. Harrison. You're full of shit, bro. You're full of shit. Because let's be fucking real. I am BCCI's bitch. Obviously, you are also BCCI's bitch. Now, if IPL wasn't knocking on the door, like it's right there, this test wouldn't have been cancelled. Perhaps pushed by 3 days, as you said, 5 days, and whatever the incubation period is, what the hell. And all the players would have loved a few more days of break because everybody is fucking tired right now, okay? And even if after 3 days we get a couple of COVID positives, no worries. India has 20 players in the squad. We just need 11 alive players to take the field. People like Sky, Prithvi, Iswar, and Ashwin, who's been fucking sitting there doing nothing, they would kill their own fucking children to get a chance to play in the test match in England. Now, do you believe Harrison, when he says IPL has nothing to do with it, with cancellation, is he just full of shit? Because I think he's full of shit.
The BCCI said that we are not sending your salary we are not crediting your salary to your account, and he immediately said this. To anyways, I think see, there are two sides to it. If I'm completely cynical, and there might be some truth to it, it's completely to do with IPL. But on the other hand, think about it. These guys have been in a bubble for a year. Now, the second physio, first physio was already positive. The on the morning of the test, they said second physio is also positive. Now there are tired bodies. Okay, physiotherapy is not, you can't do over Zoom or virtually. All, like, your bodies are really tired. You need that physio working on your body every morning before the day and every evening after the day. And then if I'm thinking, if I was the player, like, I don't want, like, it screws up your mental psyche. We can't dictate how anyone can think or feel, but there might be some players who would be like, hey man, like, I am really scared, like, I don't want you to, like, do physiotherapy on me when chances are you are COVID positive. And families are traveling, by the way. All families are with the players. Now if they get it, then they transmit it to their wife or kids or girlfriends, whoever they are. So from a mental health perspective, I get it. I'm not judging anyone that they copped out or something like that. There is a logical argument that, fine. Like, you look at Ben Stokes, he's taken, for mental health reasons, he's taken a break indefinitely. These guys have been playing non-stop for a year from bubble to bubble. They'll go another, in a tighter bubble for IPL, then another tighter bubble for the World Cup. It's a never-ending thing. Like, I mean, it just gets to you sometimes, and I wouldn't judge a player if any player said that, hey boss, I don't want to play, this is getting ridiculous. And who knows, there might be enough number of players who said this, and then BCCI had to take this decision. The truth will never come out. I mean, BCCI will spin its own positive PR story, but if what I just described is true, I won't judge them. And then the fact that IPL is there, I mean, would not have. I mean, there is, of course, IPL is always there. There is already, of course, there is an influence of that.
Okay, at the end of the day, everything is happening because of IPL. Whether 100% or not, it's all because of IPL regardless. Okay, if IPL wasn't there, this test would happen.
Correct.
3 days later, 4 days later, whatever is going to happen. Second thing is physio.
Yeah.
Whole of England, you don't have to answer this. Whole of England doesn't have physios. They can't give them a physio. Family. Playing the match or not playing the match does not change the fact that family will get something or not get something. Okay. Rohit Sharma doesn't want to play. He can do what Stokes does. Just go home. Okay. Just bugger off. Why is nobody else playing because of this person? Okay, when Stokes decide, no, I'm not going to play, so the entire England doesn't play. Let me come back to this thing, okay? Now, the fun part of the justification given for this test is fear of COVID. Now, this justification works in all scenarios. I'm telling you all fucking scenarios. People can always say, I have kids, I have family, I know someone who got COVID and died, I know someone who got sick even after the second jab. Here's my 2 cents on this thing. I know people who died sitting. I might die sitting. People have died walking, choked on water and died. People died because a vending machine fell on them. And in all of India, you know this very well. We only have 3 vending machines. Now, or some people died because they ate too many carrots. They drank too much carrot juice. You don't buy this. Go on fucking internet on Google if anybody doesn't buy this. Die of breathing too much. Okay. This also happened. All kind of weird shit happens all the time. So fear of COVID is no reason, even if people are ready to accept it as a real reason. Okay, because right now we're just making up stuff. So at least be honest that we don't want to play. We are tired and we are completely knackered. 4 tests, as you said earlier, went on when Ravi book launch Shastri got COVID and nobody even talked about it. First of all, have you noticed that nobody ever talked about his health? People say he's got COVID, he's sitting somewhere else. That's it. Done. Nobody cares about it. Now the team India is tired and knackered. Players have niggles. You already know Rohit has niggles. You already know Pujara has niggles. They are 2-1 up. This is the perfect situation to stay. I don't want to play anymore. And they know they're BCCI. Everybody's their bitch. If they tell them we're not going to play, they're not going to play. In fact, India never wanted to play the 5th test. Let me make the statement here. Because BCCI had earlier asked ECB to move the damn fucking test to the start, this particular test. ECB refused because they want to, because of the 100. Okay, everything is about money, right? And now BCCI hit back by screwing ECC back. So fun fact is Rohit didn't want to get out of the bed on Friday morning after he was chugging pork dumplings and beef curries at 3 a.m. on Thursday night. Now, all this shit that our director is giving us here, that ECB did this, ECB, just because they fucked up in South Africa, just because Australia fucked up in South Africa doesn't make us what we're doing is right. So if you just come clean, listen, we need to play IPL and this is just not worth it right now and we are knackered and we are fucked up mentally. We didn't want to play the 5th test in the first place. We are 2-1 up. Can we just not do this right now? Can we do this later? So don't give us this shit that, oh, our physio got it, so that's why we're not saying it, because we can't find a single physio in the entire of England who doesn't have COVID. That is absolute rubbish from my point of view.
So I think I kind of agree. I mean, it has to do with IPL, whether it's 100%, 75%, but mostly it is because of IPL. So I'm
saying, by the way, I just want to say that ACBI fucked up this thing because they didn't want to do this. They should have done this better. Why are they playing 3 test matches back to back? There should always be a gap between the 4th and the 5th test. Now people are knackered. Like people are genuinely knackered. Like genuinely tired. Like genuinely. And ECB fucked up. Sorry, England fucked up before with South Africa. They fucked up with other teams. Sorry, Australia fucked up with South Africa. And everybody knows that West Indies traveled to here and Pakistan when they were Hafiz. They got like he was like COVID positive 78 times. Okay. You know why? Because they don't have any money. You know why Siraj played when his father died? Because he can't just go back. He's been dreaming this thing for the last 27 years. He's not going to go back from Australia because his father passed away. His father would have wanted him to play. It's just when your stomach is full. Rohit Sharma just makes a full century right now. Sorry for like completely ranting, but I hope I'm not being emotional because I thought about all this thing. I wrote it down because yesterday I was very emotional. But I'm just saying I understand that. But just the way Ernest Hemingway once said something, and I totally believe it. Violence, no matter how justified, it's still a crime. So right now, it is justified, yes. But it doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. They have not done the right thing and only it's been done because they're BCCI. If it was West Indies or Pakistan or fucking Bangladesh, nobody would have cared. Oh, you don't want to play?
Yeah, well said. I think you're right. It can be justified. It's not right. And that's why I started. I feel for the fans. Who are the biggest losers? I think apart from ECB, of course, loses a lot of revenue, but they'll make it up. It's not that this test will never going to happen.
BCCI will help them, obviously. BCCI will help them.
It's just delayed earnings, right? They will get back the money. They have insurance for all test series and everything. So
Yeah, a lot of people saying they're gonna make more money because it's gonna. This had a lot of rain time, and when they play next year, it will make more money with more people coming in.
Ultimately, the biggest losers are the fans and the ground staff who will not get paid for 5 days of hard work.
Yes, correct.
All the vendors, the fries, the fish and chips vendors around the stadium, their business is lost, right, for 5 days or whatever. Those guys are the real guys on the street, are the biggest losers in all this. And Ravi Shastri, I mean, ideally, in an ideal world, he should be stoned. Okay, he should be pinned. What kind
I'm
of
coming to him.
message are
I'm
you
coming to
sending?
him.
I mean, it's just insane, the level of stupidity. Like, if there was an investigation of how did this biosecure bubble, how did the virus breach this bubble, there has to be an investigation, and the people who are responsible have to be punished in some way, shape, or form. I mean, it's just not right if some stupid, like, during COVID, you have to think of the larger collective. You can't just say, "Oh, like, I'm feeling hungry, let me go and have butter chicken on the streets of London," or let me go and sign my book. Do a fucking book launch. Like, there is an IPL coming in. You are not a coach. You have full 1 month window. Do all kinds of book launches that you want. Why do you want to do it like on in the middle of a test series in England?
Okay, everybody knows this. Like what happened apart from the shit our director is doing on the ticker, which I'm just like he's just happy. He's just lucky he's not right here. Okay, just because there's no COVID restriction doesn't mean you go around do everything. You can't put your dick everywhere. Okay, you know what TGC's been talking about. TGC, you should see TGC's podcast when they're doing live. Obviously, match not happen. Just continue with it. They're talking about BCCI's dick, and they was like it reaches the other room, and he said like you sitting in this room, you can just pee in the other room. That's how big it is. Okay, now. I just want to say my rant because I wrote about it. Ravi Shastri actually went across England violating all COVID protocols in general. Okay, he became the patient zero, gets the virus in, and became the super spreader while drinking whiskey with all the support staff every evening till early mornings. Right? That's why only the support staff is catching it because Virat Kohli and everybody's right next to him. And by the way, director Virat Kohli, you blaming Virat Kohli for cancelling the match and still not selecting Ashwin. I swear to God, Virat Kohli is being tied in somewhere with ropes on a chair because this is the only fucker who's still saying, let's play. I'm going to play because Virat Kohli never ever says not play. He's like, I'm ready. Let's play the goddamn. Unless he's getting a kid, then he'll not come. But otherwise, well, Anushka tells him not come, but Anushka is not there, I believe. Right. So he's not coming. It's just that Rohit Sharma and everybody keeps saying some senior guy is doing it. Everybody knows it's Rohit Sharma. So what is the punishment for Ravi Shastri, who really doesn't give a shit about anything else about from his whiskey or his fucking book, which I hope a lot of people will end up reading now thanks to all this fiasco.
I mean, it's just, it's silly. I mean, I don't know. I don't have words to say. I mean, what message are you sending to your own squad that I'm the coach? I don't care. Let me go and do my book launch in London. I mean, he should be at least fined heavily and reprimanded. This is irresponsible behavior.
Nobody is talking about it.
It's completely irresponsible behavior. And think about it, right? You have IPL. Like Ravi Shastri is free. He can go on a vacation. During IPL, he has no work, right? I mean, do your book launches, go on a holiday, have more whiskey. Nobody cares. Why do you have to do it in the middle of the fucking test series?
And they were doing it in the middle of test. They're like, chill, let's do this. Shastri said, I'm bigger than everybody. Okay, let's talk about this pain point, which obviously Bikram thinks otherwise. But I'm very honest about this, and I can tell Bikram is completely wrong about this thing. This is about forfeiture. Now, in simple terms, India did not feel the team, even when after all the players tested negative. You know football, even if your players test negative, positive, you say, okay, you go outside and we'll play the rest team. Okay, nobody even tested negative. These are objectively sound grounds for forfeiture. When I say objectively, I'm just being nice here, okay? Cancellation is only when both teams refuse to play or they simply can't play because there's a fucking flood, okay? In a real world, if you don't show up to work, you don't get paid. You don't show up to a match, you lose. You can't just tell people, oh, apologies, you came from Edinburgh. We could have told you this yesterday, but we just didn't give a shit. And we're just telling you right now because we just said it was like, we don't care. We're BCCI. Who cares? We're not going to come on the field. What are you going to do about it? As TGC said, I liked what this guy said. He said, we're not going to come on the field. What are you going to do about it? That's exactly how it is. What are you going to do about it? You can't do nothing about it.
Yeah,
So forfeiture is fair game, right? If you're not going to show up, also, by the way, the forfeiture system is that because if its match gets cancelled because of COVID, ECB gets nothing. But if it gets forfeited, it's not just about the number 2-2. It's about when ECB, if it's forfeiture, the insurance pays 30 million.
Yeah.
That's the only time they'll get money. Otherwise, they'll not get money. COVID is not a reason they'll not get money.
Yeah, but the power of BCCI, right? They can get this insurance money, then they will say, okay, fuck you, we will not tour next in the next round. Then you will lose 150 million and screw you.
So, even more. Yeah, no, so they won't do that. They won't do that. That's why within 10 minutes, they change the forfeiture to like cancelled. It's like, change it. And you know how Jay Shah, your Guju guy, speaks. He's the funniest guy who speaks in English. So we have selected these people. I was like, why are you speaking? Who is this guy? By the way, why is this guy secretary or something? And I'm like, when you were speaking, he's somebody's son, right?
Honorable Home Minister's son.
Oh, okay. And he couldn't even speak properly. Did he not go to school? How bad the education system must have been like that.
Unfortunately, BCCI has become a political fiefdom. All predecessors, if you see, now what they are doing is they'll make some good guy the face of BCCI, but behind the strings, it's a political body. So Saurav Ganguly is the face because he's credible. He's played cricket. He was the captain of Indian cricket team. So everywhere, he'll be the front, but behind the scenes, all the treasury, head of treasury and secretary, all these second one level below posts mostly are given out to sons of politicians or politicians themselves. So the sports minister who's right now, Anurag Thakur, he was the BCCI treasurer or secretary before this guy. And they've never lifted, probably if you look at them, they would have never lifted a bat in their life, and they're becoming the, holding such positions in probably the world's richest sporting body.
Silly Shastri, I won't be surprised if he spelled bat as B-E-T. It's a single syllable word, but he would have fucked it up. I won't be surprised. And he'll probably he'll not say bowl, he'll probably call it bowl. The good bowling, Bumrah. Now, I have final question now. Before that, I just want to add one more thing which I forgot because, there were so many questions and, there's no way I could have asked it properly. So he kind of already answered most of the questions. I just want to make sure there is a difference. Although it was still wrong, there was a difference between what England did in South Africa. At that time, there was no vaccine. Okay. These guys are double jabbed. There's a huge difference between that. And if they really want to do this, they could have done it fourth test. They didn't do it. And now you're in an unassailable situation. And you know that at the end, if you don't play, it's going to stay.
That's a good point. If India was behind 2-1 or if the series was level 1-1, I don't know whether...
Kohli would have broken through the ropes and said, no, we're playing. Bloody hell, we're playing.
Kohli would have dragged Rohit Sharma onto the field, tied a rope around his belly and dragged him to the field.
Yeah, so that's the only reason. It's fair enough. This is the whole thing. Now, the final question is, this is an ethical question. And this is one of the greatest questions I've ever asked. And I've asked a lot of great questions. Everybody knows them. In all fairness and objectivity, using big terms, considering India didn't field their 11 even after everybody was negative, on some, circumstantial evidence, which might happen, anything can happen, obviously, would you say India has won the series? Okay, if you're fair, here's my 2 cents on this. I believe for me, it will always be an incomplete series, stuck in limbo with India leading 2-1. Till eternity, till the end of eternity or till the end of BCCI. Obviously, we know it's going to be end of eternity before the end of BCCI.
Yeah, I think for me also, it's the same. I don't think I can conclusively, confidently say who won or what's the outcome of the series. It will be in limbo and there will be always an asterisk and it'll say TBD.
Yeah, and by the way, people should remember this thing. At this place, Old Trafford, or Emirates Old Trafford, India has never won. Ever. So this will create history, which I don't think is beyond India, but they could have done it. But you can't just assume they'll do it. Another Gabba. So it's going to be bigger than Gabba because, because they've never won. So it'll be like forever. But Gabba has been fortress for Australia. Like nobody beats them at Gabba. So that was different. I think 30 years or something. So on that note, if you feel differently, if you don't like us, you can still like and subscribe. It doesn't cost you any money. We invest a lot of time. Take care. We'll see you next time. This is Silly Shastri. He's very, very silly. And I'm just BCCI bitch. Very generic. Take care.